The JAG School Literacy Project. Thank you for tuning in.
We're not ready yet. It's not on. Alright, sorry.
Today is day 3 of the JAG School Literacy Project. Thank you for tuning in.
Hello, my name is John Lucas Dawes, and today I'm going to be reciting Abraham Lincoln's famous Gettysburg Address. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. Today we are met on a great battlefield of that war, and we've come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives that that nation might live. In a larger sense, however, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, and we cannot hollow this ground. For brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far beyond our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember, what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. The end.
Hello, my name is Autumn Mills,
I'm Lakin Porter.
And I'm Kaylee Mullet.
and we are reading The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of the town where the grickle grass grows and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax.
And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today, where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it here? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of the town where the grickle grass grows, the old Wonsler still lives here, as come he knows.
You won't see the Wonsler, don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkum cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of myth-muffered roof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay.
Slup. Don't slup the wisp on the phone to your ear, and the old Wonsler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time ago.
Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the swami swans rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place. And I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze.
And under the trees I saw Broom Broom Boots, frisking about in their blue suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffle of fruits. From the rippleless pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around.
In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffle tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and a great speedy speed, I took the soft tuck and I knitted a thneed.
The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazzup. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump. Out of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy.
Mister, he said, with a sawdusty sneeze, I'm the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft?
Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree, and I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is at the need. At the need is a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who could buy that full the need.
But the very next minute I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax, you poor stupid guy. You can never tell what some people will buy.
Our creek, cried the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Shut up, if you please. I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, built a radiophone I built in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts and said, Listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the old Wancer family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch. Turn left on Wookoggin, short right at South Stitch.
And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Wancer family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees.
Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making the needs 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore.
For the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who played in the shade in their barbaloo suits, and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruits to go around, and my poor barbaloots are getting all the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies.
They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Wancer, felt sad, and I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know.
Then, again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when the old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I'm the Lorax, he coughed, and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled, he sniffed. Wancer, he cried with a crofulous croak. Wancer, you're making a smogulous smoke. My poor swummy swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has a smog in his throat.
And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them all. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smogged up around here.
What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up. Let me say a few words about Gluppity-Glup. The machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making Gluppity-Glup and Sloppity-Slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Windsor menu.
And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffle trees into the needs, which everyone needs."
And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From the outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all.
No more trees, no more the needs, no more work to be done. So in no time my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my car and drove away under the smoke-smothered stars. Now all that was left beneath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I.
The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance, as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of his place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace.
And all that the Lorax left here in the mess was a small pile of rocks with the word, "unless." Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was a long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all my heart.
But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not.
So, catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. The end.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Bobby Jude,
I'm Kristen Isaac.
I'm Emily Salyer.
and we're reading Yertle the Turtle. On the faraway island of Salomon Sond, Yertle the Turtle was king of the pond. A nice little pond. It was clean, it was neat. The water was warm, there was plenty to eat. The turtles had everything turtles might need. They were all happy, quite happy indeed. They were until Yertle, the king of them all, decided the kingdom he ruled was too small. "I'm ruler," said Yertle, "of all that I see, but I don't see enough. That's the trouble with me. With this stone for a throne, I look down on my pond, but I cannot look down on the places beyond. This throne that I sit on is too low down. It ought to be higher," he said with a frown. "If I could sit high, how much greater I'd be. What a king. I'd be the ruler of all I could see."
So Yertle the Turtle King lifted his hand, and Yertle the Turtle King gave a command. He ordered 9 turtles to swim to his stone, and using these turtles he built a new throne. He made each turtle stand on one another's back, and he piled them all up in a 9-turtle stack. And then Yertle climbed up, he sat down on the pile. What a wonderful view, he could see most of all. All mine, Yertle cried. Oh, the things I now rule. I'm king of a cow, I'm king of a mule. I'm king of a house, and what's more beyond that, I'm king of a blueberry bush and a cat. I'm Yertle the Turtle, oh marvelous me, for I'm the ruler of all that I see.
And although that morning he sat there high, saying over and over, a great king am I, until long about noon, then heard a faint sight. What's that? Snapped the king, and he looked down the sack. And he saw the bottom a turtle named Mac, just a part of the throne, and his plain little turtle looked up and he said, Beg your pardon, King Yertle, I've pains on my back and shoulders and knees. How long must we stand here, your majesty, please? Silence, the king of the turtles barked back. I'm king and your only turtle named Mac.
You stay in your place while I sit here and rule. I'm king of a cow and I'm king of a mule. I'm king of a house and a bush and a cat, but that isn't all. I can do better than that. My throne shall be higher, his royal voice thundered. So pile up more turtles. I want to be about 200. Turtles, more turtles, he bellowed and brayed, and the turtles way down in the pond were afraid. They trembled, they shook, but they came, they obeyed. From all over the pond, they came swimming by dozens. Whole families of turtles with uncles and cousins. And all of them stepped on the head of poor Mac. One after another, they climbed up the stack.
Then Yertle the Turtle was perched up so high he could see 40 miles from his throne in the sky. Hooray, shouted Yertle, I'm king of the trees, I'm king of the birds, and I'm king of the bees. I'm king of the butterflies, king of the air, all me, what a throne, what a wonderful chair. I'm Yertle the Turtle, oh marvelous me, for I'm the ruler of all that I see. Then again from below, in the great heavy stack, came a groan from the plain little turtle named Mac. Your majesty, please, I don't like to complain, but down here below we are feeling great pain. I know up on top you are seeing great sights, but down at the bottom we too should have rights. We turtles can't stand it, our shells will all crack. Besides, we need food, we are starving, groaned Mac.
You hush up your mouth, howled the mighty King Yertle. You have no right to talk to the world's highest turtle. I'll rule from the clouds, over land, over sea. There's nothing that's higher than me. But while he was shouting, he saw with surprise that the moon of the evening was starting to rise. Up over his head in the darkening skies. What's that? Snorted Turtle. Say, what is the thing that dares to be higher than Yertle the king? I shall not allow it. I'll go higher still. I'll bully my throne higher. I can and I will. I'll call some more turtles. I'll sack them to heaven. I need about 5,607.
But as Yertle the Turtle King lifted his hand and started to order and give the command, the plain little turtle below in the stack, that plain little turtle whose name was just Mac, decided he'd taken enough, and he had. And that plain little lad got a little bit mad, and the plain little Mac did a plain little thing. He burped, and his burp shook the throne of the king. And Yertle the Turtle, the king of the trees,
Wesley Howe, report to Miss White's room.
the king of the air, the king of the birds and the bees, the king of a house, and a cow, and a mule. Well, that was the end of King Turtle's rule. For Yertle the king of all Salamo's son fell off his high throne, plunk, in the pond.
And today the great Yertle, that marvelous he, is the king of the mud, that is all he can see. And the turtles, of course, all the turtles are free, as turtles and maybe all creatures should be. The end.
This book's by Gertrude McFuzz. It is. That's the end. That looks like the. I thought that was the end, lady. I didn't know.
I didn't hear you say the end.
Hello, my name is Tommy Howell, and I'm going to be doing an excerpt from John Fitzgerald Kennedy's Peace Speech. There are few earthly things more beautiful than a university, wrote John Masefield in his tribute to English universities, and his words are equally true today. He did not refer to spires and towers, rather to campus greens and ivied walls. He admired the splendid beauty of the university, he said, because it was a place where those who hate ignorance may strive to know, where those who perceive truth may strive to make others see. I have, therefore, chosen this place and this time to discuss a topic on which ignorance is too often abounds and the truth is too rarely perceived. Yet it is the most important topic on earth, world peace. What kind of peace do I mean? What kind of peace do we seek? Not a Pax Americana enforced on the world by American weapons of war. Not the peace of the grave or the security of the slave. I am talking about genuine peace, the kind of peace that makes life on earth worth living, the kind that enables men and nations to grow and hope and build a better life for their children. Not merely peace for Americans, but peace for all men and women. Not merely peace in our time, but peace for all time. I speak of peace because of the new face of war. Total war makes no sense in an age where great powers can maintain large and relatively invulnerable nuclear forces and refuse to surrender without resorting to those forces. It makes no sense in an age where a single nuclear weapon contains over 10 times the explosive force delivered by the Allied air forces in the Second World War. It makes no sense in an age when the deadly poisons produced by a nuclear exchange would be carried over by wind and water and soil to seed the far corners of the globe and to generations yet unborn. Today, the expenditure of billions of dollars every year on weapons acquired for the purpose of making sure we never need to use them is essential to keeping the peace. But surely the acquisition of such idle stockpiles, which can only destroy and never create, is not the only, much less the most efficient way of assuring peace. I speak of peace, therefore, as the necessary rational end of rational men. I realize that the pursuit of peace is not as dramatic as the pursuit of war, and frequently the words of the pursuer fall on deaf ears, but we have no more urgent task. Some say that it is useless to speak of world peace, and that it will be useless until the leaders of the Soviet Union adopt a more enlightened attitude. I hope they do. I believe we can help them do it, but I also believe we must re-examine our own attitude as individuals and as a nation, for our attitude is as essential as theirs, and every graduate of this school, every thoughtful citizen who despairs of war and wishes to bring peace should do so by looking inwards, examining his own attitude toward the possibility of peace. The end.
And now for some more Jack Kentucky riddles and knock-knock jokes.
Hey, Jasmine.
Hey, Hunter.
Why did the bowler's wife divorce him?
Why's that?
Because he took her for granted. Hey, Jasmine.
Hey, what?
What animal can you borrow money from?
What's that?
A lone wolf.
Hey, Hunter.
Hey, Jasmine.
What did the football coach say to the vending machine?
I don't know.
I want my quarterback.
Why was there no more room for another astronaut on the space shuttle?
Why is that?
Because they were outer space.
Hey, Autumn. Hey, Lincoln. What did the baseball glove say in baseball? I have no idea. Catch you later. Why did a dolphin want to beach itself? I don't know why. Because it thought I had no porpoises. Oh. Okay, I got another one. What rider works on Halloween? I have no clue. A ghost rider.
What do you call cowboy eggs? I don't know. Ground beef. I got one for you, Bobby. Here. Knock knock. Who's there? Say
see me rolling.
Stay tuned for more.
Good.
My name is Matt Messer, and I'm reading No David by David Shannon. David's mom always said, "No, David." No, David. No, David, no. No, no, no. Come back here, David. David, be quiet. Don't play with your food. That's enough, David. Go to your room. Settle down. Stop that this instant. Put your toys away. Not in the house, David. I said no, David. Davy, come here. Yes, David. I love you. That's it.
Hi, my name is Savannah Harmon.
And I'm Allison Horn.
And today we're reading an excerpt from The Last Castle by Jeanette Walls.
This is a memoir of resilience and redemption about a deeply dysfunctional family.
In the meantime, Mom devoted herself to her art. She spent all day working on oil paintings, watercolors, charcoal drawings, pen and ink sketches, Clayomar sculptures, silk screens, and wood blocks. She didn't have any particular style. Some of her paintings were what she called primitive. Some were impressionistic and abstract. Some were realistic. I don't want to be pigeonholed, she liked to say. Mom was also a writer. She always was typing away on novels, short stories, plays, poetry, and fables, children's books. which she illustrated herself. Mom's writing was always creative. So was her spelling. She needed a proofreader, and when Lori was just 7 years old, she would go over Mom's manuscripts checking for errors.
While we were in Midland, Mom painted dozens of variations and studies of the Joshua tree. We'd go with her, and she'd give us art lessons. One time I saw a tiny Joshua tree sapling grow not too far from the old tree. I wanted to dig it up and replant it near our house. I told Mom that I would protect it from the wind and water it every day so that it could grow nice and tall and straight. Mom frowned at me. "You'd be destroying what makes it special," she said. "It's the Joshua tree's struggle that gives it beauty."
Hello, my name is Greg Workman.
My name's Ian Reed. My name's Taylor Hager.
And we will be doing a Talladega Night scene when they're on the couch. Hello?
Hey man, you up?
No.
Well, get up.
It's like 2:30 in the morning, man.
I can't sleep in here. I'm scared.
There's nothing to be scared of, man. It's a new house. It just has a lot of cracks and moans.
You got your TV on?
Yeah, I fell asleep with it on.
Turn channel 42.
Wow, they're playing some good basketball. They've been playing really good ball here lately.
What are they doing playing basketball at 2:30 in the morning?
That's a really good point. Don't you remember that I hate you?
You're lucky.
I'm lucky. How?
You're sitting at your mom's and I'm in this big haunted mansion. That's awesome.
That's the opposite of awesome.
I'm in a hotel with somebody else's junk.
Yeah, that junk, that's my stuff.
Calm down, man.
You sound crazy right
Yeah,
now.
one more thing.
Yeah.
You know when you got the stereo on at the same time as the TV? How do you control the volume on the TV?
Why do you want the stereo on the TV playing at the same time? That makes no sense.
I like to party.
You know what, man? Why am I still talking to you?
Come on, man. We were doing good there. I'm taking care of your house good.
It's like his trick. You're trying to pull on me or something.
Alright, man. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right, talk to you tomorrow.
Get out. Whoa, what was that? Leave now.
What, man? What do you want?
Man, I heard a ghost.
I told you once. It's a new house. It just has a lot of cracks and moans in it. There's nothing to be scared of.
I'm not playing, man.
I gotta go, man. And remember, I hate you.
Alright, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, bye.
I'm serious. You don't want to fight.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Wesley Hill, and today I'll be reading a poem called The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both the morning equally lay, and leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way. I doubted if I could ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference.
Good job.
Okay, and
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Cargo.
Cargo who?
Cargo fast when you step on gas.
What ice cream didn't they have on the Titanic?
I don't know what dinner.
Floats.
Knock knock. Who's there? Police. Police who? Police let me in. Knock knock. Who's there? Spell. Spell who? WHO.
What did they wear to the Boston Tea Party?
I don't know.
T-shirts.
What kind of chef works better under stress?
I don't know.
A pressure cooker.
What is the best school to work program at Sheldon Clark High School?
Jack Kentucky